Awesome. Let's see.
Perfect.
Shall we give it
We're
like
live.
3-4 minutes and then just kick off, right?
Yeah. We're live
Awesome.
now. Let's just wait for a bit. Let me see. The LinkedIn notifications should be automatic, right? I think.
Yeah, I think I've got one actually myself.
Let me see. Just in case.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
literally
I
just
did.
received one.
Yep, me too. Me
Perfect.
too.
Okay, then let's wait for a bit to see some people joining now. If you're joining, just shoot us a message on the chat. We're gonna wait for a couple of minutes.
Let's see.
Do you guys see me on the? Hello, Diego. How's it going? Can you guys see me if you go to the LinkedIn? The LinkedIn recording. I don't know why it's like I saw my screen like black, but I think I see my. You see my screen here, right? I think everything should be fine. Okay. All right. Let us know who's watching. Shoot a message on the chat. We're gonna wait for 1 or 2 more minutes. Perfect. Gracias, Diego. This is gonna be in English, but I can translate if you want. Okay.
Shall we give it a couple of minutes or maybe a minute and a half and then kick off?
Yeah, let's wait one more minute. Tell us, Diego, what are you most excited about to know from the webinar? The PSM, the retention, what is it? Okay. All right. Okay, well, I think let's wait 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and then we can just get going.
Let's do it.
Retention strategies. Nice.
Awesome.
Then you have to wait for a little bit because Denis is going to share some good value on the acquisition side as well with PSM.
Yeah, we can. Listen, Diego, my friend, the acquisition side of things is as much as important as the retention side of things. They both go hand in hand, my friend. So
yeah,
shall we dive in?
Let's go. Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
I'm gonna share the presentation and let's get started.
Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Denis, the founder of Avery Consult. Today I'm joining Iker on Beyond ROAS masterclass, and today we are going to go through and you're going to learn how to master the PSM side of things and the retention for predictable and profitable growth of your business in 2025 and beyond. So first things first, we're going to cover the understanding of the Facebook machine learning environment, and then we're going to hop off to the PSM side of things and end with the maximizing retention. So how we scale the acquisition with retention, how we turn new customers into repeat customers. I think Iker, you can go ahead and mention the.
Yeah, for sure. So first, as Denis said, he's gonna talk about the acquisition part, some stuff about Facebook to understand then what you can do with PSM and what is PSM. Everything he's gonna explain that, but also important for you guys to know if you stay until the end of the webinar. Besides, the PSM calculator, the retention audit template, and the Notion doc with the recording and the summary of the webinar, we have two special bonuses at the end that they are worth waiting. So yeah, just so you guys know, and then you can go ahead, Dennis, and get started with the value bombs.
Sure thing, sure thing. Let's kick off. Well, first things first is how does Facebook work? Well, Facebook is a machine learning environment. That's very important to understand. Well, machine learning is a branch of AI that focuses on the use of the data and algorithms to learn and gradually improve over time with compound results. And Facebook, as every other social media, has a business model, right? And there's three components to that. So we have the engaging user experience, we have attention retention or retention of attention, and a database of the consumer behavioral profiles. The business model is very simple. So first things first is engaging user experience. So people stop scrolling they see the content, they stop scrolling, and they engage with the content. Users spend more time on Facebook. They keep coming back to Facebook. And third thing that's very important is that Facebook collects all the data and on all things that we both do on Facebook and also outside of Facebook. And it has 10 plus years of data on your behavior, and this data grows with every impression. So what goes into the database? Well, it's every like, every comment, every share, every message, website you've been to, online purchases you've done, made, and all of your friends that you have talked to, been around with, all the places that you've visited in the world. All of this data Facebook has in their database. And there's three components to the definition of performance on Facebook, and that is the scientific method, establishing predictive control, and what gets allocated ad spend and improve the business. So there's two parts of it. There's the scientific method, and then there's lottery. Right. So the lottery is basically the guessing game, if you will. And that is the old method of running the Facebook ads. So which ad sets, advert or campaign performs best, spend money on it, switch off what looks bad, and predict the future based on the past using really bad data and limited context. On the other hand, the excellent way to work with is the scientific method, where we use data and science to establish stable and predictive control, what gets allocated, spent, and improve the business as a consequence. We go from hypothesis and defining a clear goal, we conducting an experiment that gives us high confidence data, whether we win or lose. So what is it about establishing stable and predictive control? Well, it's a portfolio of ads with a common goal. So more data equals more stability and more security, right? And future results should be fairly well known. Ideally, it's 4 to 6 ads in a format mix of and how Facebook uses this within the funnel. So what gets allocated to spend and improve the business? Well, we use both campaign level budget, each ad that gets allocated money based on profit, and what happens to the business based on the result, right? If an ad is monetized, does it have a specific effect on the rest of the marketing mix, right? The amplification side of things, marketing mix amplification side of things. And we go from hypotheses and define a clear goal. So what a problem are we trying to solve? What kind of ad do we actually need to produce in order to reach that, in order to solve that problem, right? We clearly define what success looks like actually. And the most important part to remember is that we are only as strong as our weakest link. How can we focus on improving it? These four metrics, there's many more, volatile KPIs that destroy businesses such as CPC, CTR, ROAS, scroll stop, all of these metrics without context actually doesn't provide us with anything manageable data that we actually can use in order to get incremental business from Facebook alone. The truth about performance is that there's 4 metrics that tells us the truth of the performance on Facebook ads, right? It's the frequency, it's the ad spend, it's CPM, and the efficiency. In this case, it would be CPA when we talk e-commerce. Now we're diving into the PSM side of things. You define success in a way that makes your marketing looks good, but limits your business growth. You can choose 2 paths, the hunter's path and the farmer's path. The hunter's path, hunting is about collecting more cattle than you need. It can be fun, and best hunters can thrive. 100,000 years of human history is rooted in hunting for survival. The farmer's path, on the other hand, farming provides a stable source of food at a steady pace, right? Maize takes 60, 90 days to grow from 3 seeds. Only 1 stalk can grow to 1.8 kilo of food, and you can plant six seeds from each. We have to remember to avoid liabilities, such as avoid changing the landscape and disruption by creating instability. Avoid anything that hinders securing stable and predictable future cash flow in the business. The most common liabilities are testing audiences and testing ads, landing pages and offers constantly on a weekly basis, and having too much volume. Growing a brand comes from securing future cash flow with profit and reinvesting into the growth. Let's do the math. Let's say we have a $30 CPA, $18 COGs, $60 AOV, and then $130 LTV. 2.5 purchases in total. We have a ROAS of 2, so the hunter doubled their money. On the farmer's path, let's say we have a product with $20 AOV, we have a $22 CPA. The CPA is higher than the purchase itself. We have $18 COGS, and we have $150 LTV. So we have 3x purchases on average. ROAS is 0.9. Well, we lose actually $2 on the first purchase. But let's dive into the math. So we go the marketer's ego versus the bank account. So the hunter's road, aka the marketer's ego, is we will really only earn 8 cents for every dollar spent on ads. On the farmer's road, the bank account road, we will actually earn 25 cents for every dollar spent on ads. ROAS is how much profit or credit for each sale we give the marketer channel. PSM is how much more money can we spend to acquire any transaction. One of these will dramatically improve the bottom line, cash flow, revenue, and growth traffic for your business, and the other has the ROAS of 2. Even the farmer can afford to spend 17% more to acquire each transaction and still make the same amount of money. Even at total loss, they will still get more emails, more searches, and more visitors and revenue. And by the way, little side note here, the reason why it's 17% more is the difference in the CPA. So they can spend 17% more in CPA in order to acquire any transaction in order to break even or make the same amount of money as the hunter. When we talk about geometrical scaling is 2%, think about it, 2% increase every week, it's 3x growth a year. 5%, 3 times a week, is 2x a month. Compound interest works. And imagine that if you are a $3 million business, you have the potential to become a $10 million business within 1 year, literally 12 months. The question becomes, can you afford to spend 2% more next week? And the answer to that question is actually depends, meaning there is no right or wrong, yes or no. It actually depends because there is much more to the whole spiel than the marketing itself. There's of course the product, your brand presence online, and your unit economics, your margins. All of this stuff plays a huge role, and the marketing of course amplifies your business model. And the more you spend, obviously, you are going to expose more. You will get exposed to more gaps in your business model that you have to fill in, and that's not the marketing. That's not the marketing to fix that. You only have to be a hunter until the first crops can be harvested. If your second purchase, let's say, happens on day 90, on day 91, your blended CPA goes down, your revenue floor, your LTV and PSM goes up. And if you improve your second purchase rate even further and LTV, it will give PSM another boost, which means we can scale even more and even faster because we have more profit to reinvest into the growth of the business. Ultimately, you don't look at what you're promoting as a compound investment, and it's ruining it for you. So how do we actually find the core offer for our business to promote, to grow our business? So there's low price and high price examples from that I'm going to share with you. So we have the low budget or low price example here. We have a $1,000 budget at 33 sales per day, so we have higher volume of sales, and we have a blended AOV of $40, so that's a pretty cheap product, and we have blended CPA of $30, like blended CPA on the business level, right? That gives us a second purchase rate of 30%. So 30% of people that buy the first time, they also come back, buy again, right? And so we have a cash flow cadence of 25 days. So every 20 on the 26th day of the first purchase, for every 26th day, people can buy and back again, and they buy in total with a purchase frequency of 2.5 times. We have an LTV of $100. So at $1,000 a budget a day and 33 sales per day, or 33 sales per day and $1,000 budget. On day 1, we have $1,300 in revenue. On day 25, we have $1,700. We have like 20% of people 10% of the people that come back and buy again on day 25. 1 year later, with 25% increase in PSM per week, which is 2.5% more 48 times, equals $3,353 in budget. That is $40 x 112 sales. And that's $4,471 in daily revenue based on second purchase alone. That's insane numbers. And if we take a higher price product with an average order value of $150, we have the same budget. Now we have a lower volume of sales, 13 sales per day, and the cash flow cadence in 90 days. And obviously, we have second purchase rate at 10%, so it's a lower percentage of people that come back and buy again. Well, here on day 1, we have $950 in daily revenue. On day 25, we have $2,100 in daily revenue. But 1 year later, with 25%, with the same increase in the PSM, but that is 7.5% more 39 times, equals $18,000 in budget. That's $150 average order value times 240 sales. And that's 36,000 in daily revenue. And that's only on second purchase. And that's on second purchase only. This is astronomical numbers. Obviously, this is one of the examples where it's really compound effects really shows how it really works. And it's literally only 7.5% more 39 times. It's 25% increase per week. That's it. So what if we swap PSM numbers between these two price points? So let's say we took the higher priced product with $150 AOV. We have, with 25% increase and with the PSM of 1.3, we have $18,000 in budget and $36,000 in daily revenue based on second purchase alone, with with the PSM 1.3, which is we are making $30 for 30 cents for every dollar. With 1.1 in PSM, 10 cents for every dollar, we have 2.5% more 39 times, which is $2,600 in budget 1 year later, and $5,300 in daily revenue based on second purchase alone. And If you have any questions on this, I know there's a lot of math, a lot of numbers. Please leave them in the comment section, and we'll definitely go ahead and answer those on the go or in the end at the Q&A. And yeah, and as a bonus, you will get the PSM calculator after the webinar, and so you can find your hero offer, your core offer, and the products that you can promote in order to grow your business. The products that actually the most profitable, and not that have the highest ROAS, but have the highest PSM, that you can actually reinvest the profit into grow your business more faster and more profitably and more predictably, most of all. And one thing you can do is to improve your efficiency, meaning scaling your efficiency when you are advertising on Facebook and actually trying to grow a business on social media. One way you can improve your efficiency is to lower the CPA. Well, there's three ways basically. You can improve your LTV. You can scale the efficiency by decreasing the CPA, or you can improve your COGs. Well, COGs is very boring. Let's be honest. The LTV is hard, but the CPA is the most fun way to optimize the efficiency. To decrease the CPA is way easier than to improve any other metrics. And while the PSM framework I just introduced helps to clarify the quantitative value, I also wanted to take a moment and highlight the qualitative research that brands should leverage. For example, tools like Faro help to provide visibility into customer behavior, and specifically during the checkout. And where users drop off room, which segments might be struggling, and where there's room to improve. Faro in particular actually interesting, as they can also predict abandonment patterns and suggest small optimizations that can reduce CPA over time, right? That can boost the margins on the purchase, and they help you to invest all of the profit into growth of your business. And it's not about overhauling everything, right? But rather finding the areas with the most impact and helping teams take actions more confidently, right? And if you're interested to learn more, you can, of course, check out their app listing in the various marketplaces and whatnot, app stores, and get a complimentary checkout audit to learn more about your specific checkout drop-offs. And now I will hand it off to Iker, that will gonna crush all of the maximizing retention side of things.
Perfect. All right. Okay, let's go with the retention side of things now. So basically, the two things or two questions that I want to tackle today, I'm gonna try to simplify it as much as possible. And basically, the two questions are: number one, how can we scale acquisition with retention? Not necessarily by investing more into ads, but by just taking care of retention. And I'll let you know. I'll explain now how to do that, and then I'm going to try to answer the second question, which is, okay, how do I turn a new customer into a repeat customer? Like, what do I need to do in my retention strategy to make that happen? So, first question, how to scale acquisition with retention. Basically, the most important thing here is reducing time between orders, specifically first and second orders. And the way that we are going to try to improve or reduce the time between first and second orders is by taking a look at these retention KPIs. Klaviyo attribution, whatever platform you use attribution, that doesn't help. It just boosts your ego, as Denis said previously, if you look at ROAS, for example. But the main KPIs, especially if you have if you're a CPG brand or you sell consumable goods, then you should definitely look at very short timeframes, like for the LTV. Okay, because if you look at, for example, as we do with our clients, 60-day LTV, then we look at a time frame. We look at average 60-day LTV of at least the last 3 months. And we do this because it's a long enough time frame to see an impact on cash flow, and also a long enough time frame to see a repurchase. And the reason why we do this is because when we look at LTV in our Excels, or trying to calculate all these numbers, the PSM and all this kind of stuff that we try to understand, to know how much can we invest to, like, on ads or whatever action we have on our business. And LTV can mean many things. It can be average, like, overall LTV. It could be LTV from, like, month over month last year. Like, it could be whatever. So what we do is we look at this time frame that is going to help us look in a short enough time horizon, and, like, not too long, not too short, because this is going to be actionable. And honestly, if we look at LTV from, like, last year, you probably made changes in your products and your pricing and in many different variables that it's going to make that LTV be outdated. So that's why we look at this time, at this 60-day LTV. And if you have, if you sell durable goods, if you have, like, a fashion brand, for example, then you might want to adjust that time window. But I would suggest for you to calculate this, and I'll explain how you can do that with an app that we use with our clients. But 60-day LTV would be the most important. And then other ways to see that is the 60-day LTV to CAC and the 60-day LTV growth rate, which, I have some benchmarks here so that you can have a reference when you do that calculation. Usually 60-day LTV to CAC should be around 2.2 to 2.5 to 1. The golden rule, you've probably heard this, is 3 to 1, but that's, like, average lifetime value. That's why here it's a little bit less. And we can also look at it in terms of growth rate, which would be 25%. And then we calculate this with Lifetimely. In Lifetimely, you can do many things for the retention side. It's pretty awesome, to be honest. You can do a cohorts analysis. You can do, as you can see on the screen, the one on the right, that's to analyze time between orders. You can do that for, like, first purchases, second purchases, like, whatever. You can analyze everything. And then we're going to use all that information for what I'm going to explain afterwards in terms of, the flows and all that kind of stuff. And then, as you see below here, you can see the customer repurchase rate for new customers and for returning customers in 30 days, 90 days, and 180 days. And that's going to give you a lot of information to know, okay, how many people buy again, what's the average order value, and from there you reverse engineer to see, okay, how much profit am I getting in those first 30, 60 days that I can reinvest into ads, right? And then we have the product journey, which I'll explain after, for the flows that are key in terms of retention. But just so you know, like, I could be talking about Lifetimely and how to do this audit for hours. So what I did is I just put together this retention audit template with everything that you need to calculate to see the retention KPIs. Just find out where you are at, and all the benchmarks that you need to be looking at, and that way you can also reverse engineer and apply, like, the flows that I'm gonna talk about on this strategy, so that you can improve those numbers. And this is the bonus, one of the bonuses that we have. So you are going to get a Google Doc with how to calculate each metric that you need, like all the KPIs, retention KPIs, how to calculate each metric, benchmarks for each metric, and how to analyze. Because once you have the metrics, like, what you do with those metrics is what matters. Yeah, Igor. I know LTV is a tricky one because it can mean so many things. But again, if you guys have any questions at the end, I can explain how we do this calculation, because we do it with Lifetimely with the cohorts analysis. But if done correctly, it's going to give you a really good grasp on where your brand stands at this moment, not overall time. Which, having that context helps a lot to know what to implement and how to act now. So now that we figured out, okay, how retention can impact acquisition, and then there's many things that you can do and reverse engineer how much you can reinvest, and also taking into account what Denis explained in terms of the compound effect, and that requires calculations. That's why he shared the PSM calculator, and then with all the retention KPIs, if you know them, then you can apply that to the PSM calculator, or any Excel that you use to calculate how much can you spend on the ad side or on any other action that you do as a brand, right? And now we're going to talk about how. Okay, we know the numbers, we know all the theory, and this looks like pretty good on paper, but how can we make people actually repurchase? Like, what do we need to do, right? So again, to have someone purchase once, it might be luck, okay, but you're not gonna get lucky twice. Let's put it that way. So in order to have someone buy multiple times from your brand, you need to answer these 3 questions. So first one, and most important probably besides customer experience, is, did the product deliver on the promise? Like, if the product didn't give the result that the person expected, or that you promised the person that it would give them, then they're not going to come back. That's for sure. So then we need to assume that the product is not the problem. We have a good product, good customer experience. Then the next 2 questions are the most important, and they are tied to the business, the type of products that you have, whether they are durable or they are consumables. So first one is, do they want to buy again? And second one is, do they need to buy again? Okay, so knowing these 3 questions, again, we need to assume that the promise was delivered. So we're going to assume that, okay, everything was good with the product, everything was good with the delivery, customer experience, all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm going to talk about 2 scenarios. The first one is, they want, but they don't need the product. And this scenario is usually the one where it's for durable goods, okay? Because they might not need to buy another shirt from your brand. They might not need to buy another pair of shoes, but we, as a brand, need to make them want to buy again. It doesn't have to be the same product. It might be a complementary product, but they need to want it because they don't need it, So the 3 levers to increase 60-day LTV, in this case, this is more for durable products, is number 1, the product journey, which I'll talk about in a second, and then 2 key flows on the retention side. Okay, this is very specific. This is not the whole customer journey. This is not like the only 2 flows that you need, but the 2 flows that I'm going to talk about are the cross-sell flow and the win-back flow. And then, well, before going into the other scenario, it's very, very important to understand that for this first scenario, where it's more so for durable goods, like fashion brands, for example, the most important thing is to understand the product journey. Like, you need to know exactly which are your hero product or hero products, and what is the product that people buy the most from first to second purchase, and from second to third purchase. And also, from if they buy product A, do they buy product B afterwards, or do they buy product A again? And the same, if they buy on the first time product B, do they buy product A, or what is it? What is that product journey? And as you can see, this can be, you can see this on lifetime link, which is pretty awesome. Again, this is something that if you did manually, you probably drive yourself crazy. But this is very important to understand how to cross-sell in our flows, okay? This is not some guesswork that, okay, usually if they buy socks, then they buy a t-shirt, or they buy some shoes or whatever. No, This is okay. They buy product A, and we know for a fact that 30% of these people, then if they purchase again, they buy this product. And that's how you create the cross-sell flows. And then let's go to scenario 2, which is they might not even want to buy your product again, but they might need it because, for example, I'm a customer of protein, from supplement brands, for the gym and all that kind of stuff. So I might not want necessarily the protein, but I need it if I want to like grow muscle and I want to get to my protein levels every day. So the 3 levers to increase 60-day LTV in this scenario, first is the product usage, and then the 2 key flows, the onboarding flow and the replenishment flow. So for CPG brands, consumable goods, there are like 3 key things that you really need to nail after the first purchase. Number 1, this is product activation. So in other words, making sure the customer makes use of the product. Number 2, habit formation, helping the customer create the habit of using it. Because we can activate the product. They might, take the creatine twice and then they forget about it. But we can't let that happen, because if that happens, they're not going to need the product. They're not going to buy again. And this has happened to me that, I buy some, whey protein. I first week in the gym, I take it every day, and then I just forget. And then that protein lasts for 3 months instead of the 28 servings, 28 days that it should be, right? So product activation, habit formation to make sure that they use it consistently. And then the third one, which is the next level, probably I haven't seen many brands do this correctly, at least, is ecosystem integration. Basically helping the customer maximize the value of the product, integrating it into not just the habit that we want to build, but into their other habits and activities. So basically, for example, if I buy whey protein and you understand me as a customer, you probably know that I like, smoothies. So maybe if you tell me that your chocolate whey protein goes really well with matcha, or goes really well with this other recipe, then you are integrating your product into my life, not just in an isolated way. And that's maximizing the value, not just with the product, but with everything surrounding that person. And then, as you can see here, these are the 4 key flows that I've been talking about. These are post-purchase, post-purchase flows. You can have all 4 of them, regardless of your brand, but it might not make much sense, and some will, they will overlap in terms of the message and what, the emails and all that kind of stuff. So for CPG brands, again, it would be the onboarding flow and replenishment flow, which I'll touch on right now. And for durable products, you want to have for sure the cross-sell, upsell, and the win-back flows. So to make it very simple, and this is probably one of the most important flows in terms of customer experience and value, providing value to a new customer. And this is the onboarding flow. You can do this for any brand, honestly. We have done it for, fashion, sports fashion, sport tech, in terms of, for example, for one of the brands, we did a challenge. It was a 30-day challenge. So we help them wear the clothing, the apparel that they bought, and use it in the habit that we want to build, so that they use a product. And that's running a marathon, or running every day 20 minutes, or doing their favorite sport every day with the attire that they purchased. And you can do that with a durable goods brand. It doesn't need to be CPG or consumables. But here's where you want to do the product activation, habit formation, and value maximization, all those 3 things. This is where you do it, so that, as you can see there, the goal is increase 60-day LTV by activating the product, building the habit of using the product, and maximizing its value because we integrate it into their ecosystem, and there's like many different flows that you can, many different emails, that you can send here. It could even be like a how to use, how to wash, if it's a fashion brand, how to use, I don't know, if it's like purse, depending on the color of the purse, maybe it goes well with, this is the outfit you can combine it with. It could be whatever, but it's okay. How can I add value? How can I make sure these three things happen in this flow? And then we have the cross-sell upsell flow. This is not a new flow by any means, but it's very important to understand that it's especially important for durable goods brands, because for supplements, we have the replenishment flow, and also we could have like subscription upsell flow. That could be like one of the flows. But in terms of just like cross-sell upsell, what we want to do is try to maximize FOB, so first order value, by having an immediate upsell for first time customers. That way, like, when they are like hotter to purchase again is when they just purchased and they just gave us, the money. So that's when you want to maximize LTV, because after that it goes down in terms of lifetime value. Then if your business model has like a subscription model, you can do a subscription upsell. And also the last thing is complementary products. Okay, in this case, for example, a fashion brand, if you bought some shoes, maybe you're gonna like this and you're gonna like that, and this is where the product journey comes into place. Okay, this is understanding the product journey and the stage of the cost, like where is the customer at in the customer journey, and this is something that you need to map out too. And then the replenishment flow, in this case, this would be kind of like what you would do with a cross-sell flow, because in the cross-sell flow we're trying to maximize next purchases, and in the replenishment flow we do the same. In this case, this would be more like a reminder for as a reminder, if they don't want that product again, you can just after that make some recommendations, and as a last resort, you can always do second purchase incentives. Here the goal of this flow is to reduce time between orders and increase 60-day LTV by, sometimes people just forget. And this is why first you need to nail down the onboarding flow, because if we nail down the onboarding flow, we probably help that person use the product, and then the replenishment flow is just going to be an easy reminder for people to buy again. And very important, don't just trigger this flow after 30 days. If there's like a 28 dose vitamin or supplement or whatever, look at what Lifetimely tells you, because some people are really like, you can't make human behavior reasonable. So even if you think your product should run out after 30 days, we found out, for example, with this brand, this sports wear brand, we thought, it's durable goods, like they're probably not going to buy until like the next 60 to 90 days. And we found out that the average time between orders, it was 21 days. So that means they were purchasing again much earlier than we thought. And we were, at the beginning, they had like a win-back flow after 60 days, when they should probably do it much earlier, knowing that the time between orders is that one, right? And then the win-back flow in here is exactly what I said about the 21 days. As you can see here, you can see the graphs and the graph going down, because that's the percentage of people that repurchased again in what time frame. And as you can see, after like, I think it's 30 something days, it just flattens to almost like 0%. So that's where you need to be, okay, I'm going to test out 21 days, and then I'm going to test out another, let's say 27 days, because that's where it also starts falling. So we want to make sure we message the customer at the right time. And the win-back flow is, again, kind of like the replenishment flow, but more of like a last resort. trying to maximize LTV by reactivating inactive clients, just sending reminders, sending recommendations in case they don't want the same product. Or again, if it's not if it's a durable good and they are not going to purchase that product again, then we want to show like bestsellers, recommendations based on what they purchased before, just as we did in the cross-sell flow with the product journey. And we can also give second purchase incentives. So again, this is the answer, very summarized answer to how to scale acquisition with retention and how to turn a new customer into a repeat customer. Again, everything that we've mentioned in the webinar, Denis and we are going to put into a Notion doc with the recording of the webinar and a summary of everything that we've been talking about, so that you can have that, you can use it, you'll have all the resources in there as well, and you receive it via email, probably tomorrow or Monday, the latest. But yeah, that's the bonus. And then for the last bonuses, let me add you guys here. So we're gonna do this for 3 brands. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do everything that you saw here, the whole PSM, retention, roadmap, calculations, KPIs, all this kind of stuff. We're going to do it for 3 brands. So if you want this done and you don't want to do the work yourself, you can book a call. I think Denis just shared the link on the chat. You can just book a call, then we'll conduct a live audit with Denis, and I will do it with you on the call, and then you'll receive a 6-month PSM and retention roadmap doc. And also, as another bonus, Chris is going to give away a free checkout audit, by Faro, so that you understand customer behavior and checkout drop-ups. Do you guys want to add anything to that, Denis, Chris? Otherwise, if there's any questions in the chat, please let us know, and we'll be here for a couple minutes to make sure we answered any questions that you guys might have.
I mean, this was awesome, absolutely amazing. A lot of actionable insights you put into your business straight away. I had having a question.
Chris, can you hear Denis correctly?
I think his audio scrambled.
Yeah, I think your mic, I don't know what happened. It's a kind of like a robotic, Denis. Oh, okay. Diego has a question. I don't know why it sounds a bit robotic, Denis. Okay, so some of us don't have access to Lifetimely. Whoa. Is it me now? Do you hear me well? Okay. Yeah. So, okay, sorry. So some of us don't have access to Lifetimely. Several questions. How do you calculate the TVO? Because a lot of times the average is not very reliable. Would you use percentiles, or what method would you calculate the 60-day LTV? What's the exact method looking at the cohort analysis? Awesome questions, Diego. So if you have Shopify, Lifetimely is free for 14 days. So that's usually what we do if clients don't use Lifetimely. Otherwise, I think you can calculate that on Triple Whale, if I'm not mistaken, Denis, or at least part of it. Those are like the 2 main options I would give you, because if you do it manually, you're going to drive yourself crazy, as I said before. So try to get that free trial. If you use like a WooCommerce or some other software, some other like e-commerce platform that is not Shopify, then you can try Be Profit. And I think also Triple Whale works with WooCommerce and other platforms. So yeah, Diego, that's for the calculation of TBO. And then, yeah, I don't know, where have you looked at TBO, Shopify? What is the other tool you said? It's Triple Whale. I'll just type it here. Yeah, it's Triple Whale, and then, but I would suggest Lifetimely, because I put the explanation there. It's probably going to be easier, and you have the 14-day free trial without you don't have to pay or anything. And the 60-day LTV method. Okay, so the way we do it with our clients, and you might want to adjust it a little bit, but for example, if I wanted to calculate your 60-day LTV right now, what I would do is I would look at your last 3 months, I would look at your cohorts, and I would look at the last 3 months that have the full cohorts completed, the full 60-day LTV completed. So if we are in May now, you might want to look at March, February, because February has the next 60 days completed. So it has March and it has April, and then you would look at February, January, and December. In this case, these 3 months are kind of tricky, so you might want to look at months that are not that don't have any Black Fridays or anything that, if you sell in Mexico, like a hot sale, or just make sure it's 3 stable months. Or if you just want to look at the last three months, you can do that just to have some perspective on the last 3 full cohorts, and that way you're going to get a 60-day LTV average. And we do 3 months because that way, if there's one of those months that goes really has a peak or has a valley, then it doesn't go off too much. And that way you get the 60 LTV. You also, if you see the Google Doc, the template, the retention audit template, you'll see that we calculate also other KPIs in that way, and you can check it out there. But that's basically how we do it, to make sure that we don't look too far back, because some clients make changes in pricing, they make other changes in the business, and then it just gets obsolete. That analysis doesn't really make that much sense. I don't know if that answers your questions, Diego. And if you want to add anything, Chris, Dennis, I just think Dennis, it still sounds a bit robotic. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, no problem. De nada, Diego. Okay, if I don't think there are any more questions. Yeah, well, okay. Dennis, Chris, unless you guys want to say anything else, I think we can wrap it up here.
Yeah, I think so. You went definitely in depth into the insights there, which is amazing. It was awesome.
Awesome. We have Dennis Terminator mode, the webinar. Well, thank you guys. We'll upload this and we'll share it with you in the next couple of days. And yeah, take care. Hope you guys enjoy it.
Have a great one.